in our religion there is a big distinction between like the Jews and the Zionists. What we are against is the concept of Zionism.
The political aspect of Zionism came to existence in the year 1897. Why did the Muslims kill the Jews in 1834, 60 years before the political movement of Zionism? Why did they attack the Jews then? Why did they attack the Jews in 1517 in Hebron and in Safed? Why did they attack the Jews in Khaybar? Why did they attack the Jews in 1033 in Fez massacre, where they killed 6,000 Jews on behalf of Islam? Why did they kill the Jews in many, many other scenarios before Zionism even came to existence, if it has nothing to do with a religious ideology?
Oh, these things that you have just mentioned, I don't know them. I haven't studied these things.
Before we get to the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you can be notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to support me and the channel financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links below. Alright, let's get to the video.
I'm talking to people about the conflict that's happening in my country. Would you like to speak about this?
Bro, like in religion, I am Muslim, so I have by religion to support Palestine. But yeah, if you want to tell me stuff, tell me.
No, it's perfectly fine that you're Muslim and you can support whoever you want to support. Don't you find it a bit weird that the Muslim faith, in most cases, don't even support their Muslim brothers and sisters in other places around the world, like Sudan or Yemen or Syria? They're just obsessing over Gaza and on other places where atrocities are happening.
Like this, I've noticed I support strongly Sudan. I was not very informed before. Maybe you know why I think this? Because if let's say that you, from a perspective, you try to talk about the Gaza, it's easy to understand. It's like Jewish versus Muslim. It's easy to understand. Like instead, when in Sudan it's Muslim against other Muslim, it's not like that immediately to get. Maybe it's this.
Okay, so what you're pretty much saying is, if Muslims kill other Muslims, that is tolerated, but if Jews and Muslims fight because of something that Muslims started, then everybody should condemn it. You understand? When Muslims commit atrocities against other Muslims, it shouldn't be condemned. Nobody should talk about this. Nobody's protesting about this.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not protesting too much. Personally, when I go, like I see the posts on Instagram about what is happening in Sudan, I see a bunch of comments condemning the United Arab Emirates because what I've studied is the United Arab Emirates who is doing in Sudan. But yeah,
in your opinion, why do you think Muslims around the world don't condemn the actions of other Muslims in different Muslim countries? In your opinion, why do you think that is?
Maybe there is not a strong information, I think. Me, personally, before the ceasefire in Gaza, I had never went deep into the matter of Sudan. Only after that, in my feed of Instagram, started popping this post about the Sudan, and then I got informed about this.
So can I tell you why I think people are not really informed about the different conflicts?
Yeah, what is your opinion?
I think it's because Jews are not involved. And when Jews are not involved, it's not worthy of them to be on the news. Sudan is not worthy to be on the news if Jews are not there. Syrians who are dying by the hundreds of thousands are not worthy to be on the news because the Jews are not involved. Hundreds of thousands of Yemenis, millions of Yemenis who die from starvation are not worthy to be on the news because Jews are not involved. It's not juicy enough. So there's a saying called no Jews, no news. When Jews are not involved, why should I report this? Why isn't Piers Morgan talking about this? Why aren't the big people, the big media organizations not talking about this? Because the Palestinians are used as pawns in Islamic culture and Islamic community. They're used as pawns because they're the only people making Israel look bad. Because Israel doesn't settle them. Israel fights them. There's no context talked whatsoever. That's why nobody is talking about Muslim conflicts at all.
Oh.
Would you agree?
I don't know the reason behind this. My source of information is the post that pops on me on Instagram. I don't know why Instagram decides to, for example, show me the post of Sudan only after the Gaza ceasefire. I don't know about this. I don't know about how the algorithm works. Even, for example, also not only on Instagram, also on TikTok, the post about Sudan started popping out in my feed after the ceasefire. Before, I did not know about this a lot. Yeah, in the masjid, the imam of my masjid talked about Sudan even before he did it. He did not hide it.
Did he talk about Yemen? Did he talk about Syria? And by the way, hold on, before you answer this, I just want to know, what's your opinion about what's going on in Gaza or in Judea and Samaria? Like in the masjid, what do they teach you about this?
That whoever does not side with we make a lot of prayer for Gaza to help them to finish the war. Also, the imam tells us to not buy the product that support that give income to Israel. For example, if there are product like let me think, Coca-Cola, or in general product that goes to support economically Israel, they tell us to not buy this, because whoever buys this is somehow supporting the enemies of the Muslim.
What phone do you use? Do you have an iPhone, Galaxy? What do you have?
No, Android.
Android. Do you know that most likely Android has Israeli technology in it? Do you know that the Face ID on your iPhone has an Israeli technology on it? Do you know that maybe your Intel chip inside your laptop or your computer is manufactured and designed in Israel? Like, you can try and boycott Israeli products as much as you can, for as far as you can. It's a startup nation. Most of the products in the world are manufactured, designed, or thought of in Israel. Not most of them, some of them. Even life-saving treatments such as cancer treatments and all these things. So, when you talk about this at the masjid and you ignore completely the context, I'm pretty sure they haven't talked to you about what happened on October 7th or on the first Intifada or second Intifada or third Intifada in 2015. They don't talk to you about this in the masjid, right?
In my when I attended, it was not talked about this.
I see. Do you know what happened in the first Intifada?
No.
In 1987, the year Hamas was founded, they started massacring and exploding next to Jews by the thousands from 1987 until the year 1990. In the year 1993, 1995, we tried to sign some sort of peace deal. It's called the Oslo Accords. You know how it was responded? By the 2000 Second Intifada. People went inside buses and exploded themselves and bombed themselves and went inside hotels where Jewish families were celebrating the holiday Passover, and kaboom, they exploded next to them while chanting Allahu Akbar. This didn't start on October 7th. This is a religious war. It has nothing to do with Israel. It has to do with Islam or Islamists versus the Jews. Nothing to do with Israel. And then what they're doing at the masjid for you is they try to make you forget the atrocities that the Muslims did and only blaming the Jews for the atrocities that the other side started. Because you did not... Yes.
Since you are deeply informed about this, I wanted to ask you about one thing that I read. I read a post where Netanyahu said that funding Hamas is necessary to not create a unified state of Palestine.
Right.
What do you think about this? Why did he say this thing?
First of all, the funding of Hamas came from Qatar, and they just transferred the funds for humanitarian causes. Hamas took those funds and exploited it against the Palestinian people. What do I think? I think Benjamin Netanyahu has a very westernized way of thinking. What do I mean by that? He thought that by giving them money, it's going to shut them up. But you can shut up people with an ideology that is meant to kill you, because they want to kill, they want to destroy the Jews. It's in their charter. So what do I think? I think it's a mistake that he said that. People make mistakes. He's not a robot. He's not an AI, artificial intelligence. People make mistakes with their comments, and that's a very westernized comment. A Middle Eastern comment would be, you shouldn't fund them. You shouldn't give them any aid if they try to attack you, because if they try to attack you now and you answer to their demands and needs, they'll try to attack you again and again and again until Israel is destroyed, just like they've openly said.
But wait, I wanted to make a detail. You said they attack the Jews. Is not exactly like this. It's because in our religion there is a big distinction between the Jews and the Zionists. The Jews, as religious people who follow Judaism, in our religion have to be respected as people of the book.
Okay.
So we should not hate on them like Jews. What we are against is the concept of Zionism. So the supporting the existence of a state of Israel with its own government and borders. This is what we're against, not the existence of the Jews as a religious people itself.
The political aspect of Zionism came to existence in the year 1897. Why did the Muslims kill the Jews in 1834, 60 years before the political movement of Zionism? Why did they attack the Jews then? Why did they attack the Jews in 1517 in Hebron and in Safed? Why did they attack the Jews in Khaybar? Why did they attack the Jews in 1033 in Fez massacre, where they killed 6,000 Jews on behalf of Islam? Why did they kill the Jews in many, many other scenarios before Zionism even came to existence, if it has nothing to do with a religious ideology?
Oh, these things that you have just mentioned, I don't know them. I haven't studied these things.
So no, in my opinion, it's got nothing to do with Zionism. When they kill us, they say Itbach el Yahud, not Itbach el Zionists. They don't put a distinction between Jews and Arabs as long as they live under the Israeli control. They go to people who specifically look like they're having a payas, you know, those things that come from the side, or a yarmulke, and they stab them and kill them in Jerusalem. So if the people of the book are protected, then why kill them?
Okay, if what I understand, if according to Islam the people of the book have protected, I'm not a sheikh of Islam. I don't have total knowledge. I am telling you about
I respect
what I
that.
studied. If the Islam says that people of the book has to be protected, and when you confront with them, you have to be gentle, and they are doing what you have said is true, then they've done something that is against the principles of Islam. Like, for example, when the Christians transferred the slaves from Africa to America, what they did is against the principles of Christianity, but the people behaved wrong, not following the principles of their religion.
But okay, hold on just a second. I want to tackle this point again. So if you're saying that in Islam you're supposed to respect the people of the book, right? Then why do you impose a protection tax on them called Jizya, which at some point people had to mortgage their homes in places like Jerusalem because they couldn't withhold paying those ridiculous amount of taxation. Now, Muslims may say it's only 2%, but according to testimonies from people who lived in the region of Palestine before the 1800s, they said that they had to mortgage their homes and mortgage everything they had so they can keep paying the jizya and keep practicing their religion. If this is respecting the people of the book, don't you think that imposing jizya on people who want to practice a different religion than you, they believe in a different truth than you, don't you think that's a bit of a contradiction?
Okay, but this matter, what I've heard is that if you are non-Muslim living under Muslim ruling, you pay jizya. Instead, if you choose to, and you, in case of war, you don't go to fight because it's the duty of the Muslim to fight. If you convert instead, it's not like you don't pay taxes anymore. You have to pay zakat. So if you either jizya, or if you choose Islam, you have to pay zakat. But if you convert, you also have to go to fight in case of war. So if you look from a perspective that does not involve the faith, but only material things, from a native perspective, imagine that you are a non-Muslim under Muslim rule. What is more convenient, to just pay jizya and not go to war, or to convert and having to pay another tax, still there is zakat, and also goes to war?
I think paying a taxes like everybody else, like in your country, that in Italy, I'm sure everybody pays taxes because they're equal citizens of the country. That I think is the way to go. Now, if you look at it in an Islamic perspective, then they're pretty much, that means of jizya and protection and all these things are meant for people to convert to Islam, because they see how the Muslims are. By the way, it's not only the jizya, it's the subjugation of how you pay the jizya. You pay it in humiliation. You're supposed to be humiliated. Some testimonies say that they hold you by the beard and smack you on both cheeks. That's according to testimony from the hadiths and different seerahs. But my point is, if you're trying to say that the Islamic people, Muslim people, treat the people of the book in a respectful way, then why do they humiliate them? Why do they force Jews and Christians to go to the other side of the sidewalk if a Muslim goes in front of them, in order for you not to contaminate them? Do you know that Jews and Christians cannot go to the Hajj area, so we don't filth the area? That's not showing respect to the people of the book. That's showing the people of Islam, we are over the people of the book. We have a superiority to the people of the book, and that is meant for the children of the people of the book to see, hey, these people are treated in a nice manner. These people are allowed to do this. My father is not allowed to do this. I want to convert to Islam. It's meant to make people to convert, which I don't feel is respectful towards the people of the book. I have my truth, you have your truth, I respect yours, you should respect mine.
These things that you mentioned, like the crossing the street, and are these things commanded by Islam? Like there is it's Allah said to do so?
No,
or,
I mean, these kinds of things are written in hadiths, which comes from chain of names of people who were close to the companion, to the companionship of the companions of Muhammad. I don't know how accurate they are, because they go from one person to one person to one person to one person to one person who heard that from this person, and then it comes to me. There were 600,000 hadiths, and today we're only using about, I think, 7,600 or something hadiths. So I don't know how accurate they are, because hadiths could also be made up, which Islamic history have proven a lot of hadiths to be made up. So they only took the most trustworthy sources. So some people may say, for example, Aisha. Do you believe Aisha was 9 when she married Muhammad?
6.
Okay, she was 6, right? And then when did he consummate the marriage?
9.
9.
According to hadith.
Do you believe she was actually 9?
Yes.
Okay, some Muslims that I speak to say she was 16, but the hadith say she was 9. The hadith narrates Aisha. So some Muslims choose to rely on one source, some Muslims choose to rely on different sources. So hadiths are very, very confusing. I don't know which hadiths to go by, And I don't know, I think a lot of Muslims also don't know which hadiths to go by.
Look, the ruling about Islam is I try to follow what hadith seems to be true. Then, for example, if there is a thing, a hadith that I believed because it was presented to me like truth, and I believed it, it's fine. If I believe in something that ends up was messed up or modified, and I believed it with good intention, not to disbelieve or to believe something that I know clearly this is not Islam and I chose to believe, then it's fine, because I did my intention to accept Islam. Then if the information was given to me distorted by a person who did messed up reasoning, it's not my fault. Of course, I have to try my best to find reliable sources and stuff. I have to do my part, try my best, and ask Allah to guide me to find a good source.
Do you believe the Quran is a valuable source, is an accurate source?
Yes, I do.
In Quran 5:51, it says, "O you who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians as awliya. They are awliya of one another. Don't take them as friends, because they're friends of one another." This is the Quran 5:51. So it pretty much.
I want to search it up. Quran 5:50. Okay. All believers take neither Jews nor Christians are guarded. They are guardians of each other. Whoever does so will be counted as one of them. Surely Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. Okay. Okay.
There's also Sahih al-Bukhari 1350. The Prophet died while his armor was pawned to a Jewish man. He traded. Just a second, because I remember that Muhammad's last words before he died was, "Get rid of the Jews and the Christians from Arabia." And then the Khalifa actually did that after he died.
Oh, wait, 1 moment. I just searched the 555 that you told me, and in tafsir, that is explanation. It says this. Look, I copied the tafsir and I print in the chat so we can read. This is the tafsir. Then it says, on the other hand, as long as non-Muslims are not at war with Muslims or persecuting them, the Quran commands Muslims to be kind and gracious to them. That's why I told you before, we have to treat them good, as long as they don't fight us. And that's the reason why I told you the differentiation between Jews and Zionism, because the Zionism want to take the land of Palestine and fight. Instead, the Jews, as long as they practice their religion, we're fine with them.
Yeah, but the land of Palestine is Jewish land, don't you think?
The land of Palestine is Jewish land?
Yes. King David, Dawood, was Jewish. And he built Jerusalem.
If we reason in this way, like when the Islam started conquering all of the place, then you can start saying for this, oh, but this land belongs to them, and this land belongs to the one who were before the Arabs, and so on.
No, okay, before the Jews, Canaan was divided by tribes, you know? Divided by tribes. The Jews were commanded to get this land, and I'm talking theology right now. The Jews were commanded by God that this land belongs to them. It's given to them. Now, if you claim that the Bible and the Torah are two pillars of Islam, you know, they're pillars of the Quran. If you claim that, then it's undeniable that Jerusalem and Israel, the land of Israel, belongs to the Jewish people. It doesn't mean that Muslims cannot live there. It just means that you cannot claim that it is now Muslim because you conquered it during war. And if you did conquer it during war and we got it again legally and fairly, then it is now Jewish land. Fairly and squarely.
Excuse me, but when you say the Bible and Torah are pillars of Islam, we believe that the original Bible and the original Torah are good, pillars, are part of Islam. But today there is no Torah and no Bible preserved. The Torah that you use, like Jews, we believe that was not the Torah revealed. It was corrupted. Also the Bible of the Christian, we believe it was corrupted.
But it wasn't corrupted. The Jewish Torah was never corrupted. It was said to you that it was corrupted, so you think that the Quran is the one true source. But the Quran, for example, has more than 36 different versions only in Africa alone. So that may have been corrupted, but of course it's easier not to corrupt something that's only 1400 years old. Of course. But again, the Jewish...
Do you know from Prophet Musa that you also believe in to these days, who from Musa to these days commanded your Torah? If you don't know the person, every person in the chain of transmission, how can you know that there was some liar in the middle who changed it a little bit?
Well, because there were 600,000 people witnessing the revelation of the Torah. Islam doesn't have even one.
Muhammad,
who witnessed the revelation of the Quran? Who witnessed it? The revelation of Jibril. Who witnessed it?
I think, according to what I studied, nobody. Muhammad heard it and told it to the people.
Gotcha. So he heard it and told it to the people. Nobody witnessed it. Nobody witnessed it. And you claim that Islam is the religion of truth, that he got the Quran, the religion of truth in a cave that nobody witnessed. Yet in the revelation of the Torah, 600,000 Israelites and Hebrews were witnessing the revelation under the Sinai mountain. Witnessing it. How could you believe Islam is correct?
By faith. I have a feeling inside that this is correct.
Okay, so if your claim that the Torah has been corrupted, and by the way, you can prove that it has been corrupted because for thousands of years it's been the same text and same everything. But there's 40 different versions around the world of the Quran, then how can you claim that my Torah is corrupted, which is very much specified in Surah 2, and the Quran has many, many, many different sources proving that it has been corrupted?
What I said to you, I said it by faith. Like, I don't have the proof, I haven't done research about this. So when I said the Torah is corrupted and the Quran is not corrupted, and that there is only one Quran, the reason why I came to tell you this is not because I have done research or this or that, but because I was told so, and I was told that this is truth. I was told to believe this or you go to hell. And inside of me, I have this feeling that is true. So I accept this as truth and I believe this, so I don't go to hell. And I have the feeling that is true. That's why I believe this and I told you this thing.
So don't you think that as a human being, you should question everything you're told? Everything. Because in Judaism, it's commanded to ask as many questions as possible, to question rabbis, to question arguments, to question statements. That's why they say 2 Jews, 3 opinions, because Jews always argue with one another about different statements. The Talmud is specifically that. It's different rabbis arguing about different rulings with many other rabbis. So that's what it is. Question everything you're told. In Islam, you're not really pushed to question ideas. Because if you question this, then, you're not a true Muslim, you're not a true believer. Just believe. That is a problem in Islam that I have with Islam.
No, actually, it is encouraged to seek knowledge. It is encouraged.
Okay, so let's assume you find knowledge in a different faith. Let's assume you discover Christianity and you decided Christianity is the religion for you. You decide to leave it. For example, in Iran or in Afghanistan, in places where Islam is pretty much dictating what's happening, then what's going to be the ruling if you leave?
I've heard two opinions about this. One says who does apostasy, kill it. I don't know if I read it correct.
Correct.
The other one says only if you cause problem like to their community. These two opinions I've read.
The under Sharia law, if it's actually held by Sharia law, if you decide to leave Islam, convert to Christianity or Judaism, or just leave Islam and be an agnostic or an atheist, then the punishment is death, capital punishment. That is not the case with Judaism. If you leave it, you leave it. That is not the case with Christianity. If you leave it, you leave it. Because Christianity and Judaism have reformed. Islam has never reformed. It's been like this for 1400 years. And you live in a westernized country. But if Sharia comes to Italy, that is how it's going to be imposed.
Inshallah.
No, inshallah. Ma pitom.
Inshallah. Of course. As a Muslim, I have to support Sharia. How can I be a Muslim and be against Sharia?
But let's say you question Sharia and then you decide to leave. Then you think you should be killed?
Does Allah say so?
Yes.
Because I've heard also the other opinion that says only if you cause problem to the state and stuff.
If you commit mischief in the land.
If you
if you do mischief in the land, that's what you mean? Mischief.
What does it mean? I don't.
Corrupt the land. Corrupt the land.
Ah, does it say so?
Yes.
Oh. Well, my faith, whatever Islam says, I accept. What you are telling me.
Wait, but you decide you leave. You decide you leave the faith. So now you no longer have the faith of Islam. You decide to leave. You decide it's not for you. You decide the ideas are not for you. Now they tell you, okay, now we kill you because you left. You think that is justifiable because now you no longer have the faith of Islam. Now you choose to believe in Christianity or in Judaism or in Hinduism or whatever. You think
I will answer. First of all, this thing like that, I will answer clearly. What you said about this religion, I have to check that if it's true that when you left, you kill. Because, of course, you are not a Muslim, and as I told you before, I am encouraged to search proper knowledge. But let's say, beside this, whatever Islam says, for me, is justifiable, 100%.
Okay.
Whether it's X, epsilon, because I believe that we can discuss about whether this is right or this is not when the law comes from people. But if the law comes from God, it's 100% right. It cannot be wrong.
Question: You believe Muhammad was a perfect man?
Yes.
You believe Muhammad is a role model for all Muslims?
Yeah, it's written in Quran.
Beautiful. So if you believe that, then you think that it's justifiable to marry a 6-year-old, no?
No.
So you don't believe he's a perfect man?
It depends on the time. In the Quran, we are given 3 rules to marry. The first is that she has to be old enough, that she has to be consent, and that she has to be old enough, like both physically and mentally.
I read specifically in the Quran that she doesn't even have to be on her menstruating cycle to be considered old enough to marry or young enough to marry. She doesn't even have to have it. But again, Muhammad is a prophet and a perfect man for all time. She played with dolls. She wasn't even mature because in the Quran it says she played with dolls and only children are allowed to play with dolls in Islam. So do you think it's legitimate to marry a 6-year-old and consummate the marriage at 9? Because that's pedophilia.
In the video that I've said that I watched explaining this matter, it was said that back in that time it was normal to marry at that age.
Yeah, but Muhammad is a perfect man for all time. He's a perfect role model for all time, meaning for 2,000, 3,000 years from now, he's a perfect man. Meaning that now it's supposed to be legitimate to do what Muhammad is doing.
No, because it's in the video that I said, that I watched, it changes the fact that these 3 rules were met at that time, that the women were mature at that time, and at this time they are not anymore mature at that age, so it's not fine today do this. Like he married respecting the rule at that time because at that time they were mature. I'm referring to you the video that I've seen from a Sheikh of Islam, because since I have little knowledge, I'm telling you what a person of knowledge told me. At the time, the women met these three conditions because it was different time and it was normal. At this time, today, the women don't met this condition at 9 years old, so it's not fine to marry at this age now. It has to wait till they are older to meet these three conditions.
Isn't it legal in Afghanistan to marry a 6-year-old? Because of that specific ruling, because of that specific worldview that they view Muhammad as a perfect man, it's legal as at 6 you can marry a girl, which you don't even get your menstruating cycle at that age. So how could it be legal if they're not justifying it by Islamic?
I've talked specifically about this with a guy from Afghanistan that studies with me. He told me that it is wrong what they are doing in Afghanistan because they don't meet these three conditions of Islam. So I asked him, so the people I asked this specific question to this guy from Afghanistan. So the people who justify the marriage at this age, is them who are wrong and are not following Islam? He said, absolutely, yes. They are doing what they do against Islam and justifying it using Islam, a distorted version of Islam.
Hold on, I want to see if I can find something for you. Because I saw something.
Anyway, you are really well informed. You do this like often?
Yeah.
Discuss this, man.
Yeah, I talk about my country a lot, so I realize that the problem is not even with the country. The problem is with the ideology. So I educated myself on Islam. I educated myself on hadiths, and these are the stuff I came across to establish my worldview. But you remember what we talked about before? That I told you that in Hamas's charter it says specifically that they're against the Jews, and in their charter it says the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, "Oh Muslim, there's a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him." That's in Sahih al-Bukhari 2926. They use this specific verse from in their charter, I think in Article 7 or Article 9 or 17, I forgot exactly which one, but they use it. So, for people to say that this is about Zionism and not about theology, not about religion, is factually incorrect. They kill us, they say, "Itbakh al-Yahud."
Can you tell me the verse, or you just copy and paste it in the chat so I can read it?
I can't, it's on my phone, but it's Sahih al-Bukhari 2926.
Sahih al-Bukhari 2926. Okay. Fighting for the cause of Allah. Allah says, the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, "Oh Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him." Oh.
Can you understand how Muslims around the world can take this verse and just realize that, so it's perfectly fine to fight the Jews. It's perfectly fine to kill them and say free Palestine. Can you see why people will say that specific sentence after hearing or seeing that verse?
About this, I have little knowledge, and what comes to my mind is that, according to what I heard, that the war in general should be, if I'm not wrong, declared by the leader of the Muslim. It's not like a random Muslim can decide this and go to kill by themselves.
Yeah, but again, Muslims are reading this text and they're justifying it just by reading the text. They're not necessarily researching like you do. They just see it and they say, okay, so it's justifiable to fight the Jews. The Jews are enemy of Islam. You know how many Muslims I talk to here? By the way, you're an extremely nice person, right? And it doesn't usually happen. But when I speak to Muslims from here, they say, yes, the Jews are the enemy of Islam. The Jews are the enemies of Islam. The Christians are the enemies of Islam. And I say, what makes this statement justifiable? And they say, that's what I'm taught at the masjid. That's what they teach me. That's what my imam preaches. So can you blame people who are brainwashed to think that, reading it in the Quran, reading it in the hadiths, can you blame them for thinking that, if that's what they are preached?
They do it with the intention of accepting and do it what Islam says, but maybe I don't know, since I am not a sheikh, I don't know if what they are saying is the right thing or the wrong thing. That's why in my situation, I would be like stopping, because I don't know if what to do. I want to follow Islam, but are we sure that Islam is saying this thing, or maybe it's saying other things? So I would first ask a proper sheikh, a proper sapient of Islam to explain me exactly the matter and the explanation, and most of all, since some hadith may be abrogated by other hadith or may be contextualized, I need somebody who has studied whole of the hadith and whole of the Quran, so he can teach me. Because if I only know like a little part of it, I may misunderstand, or I may get confused, or that's why it is important to seek knowledge before acting.
So
Okay.
let me ask you the last question before I go to the next person, because I am interested. So you know how you say you need to be very well versed on the Quran before you do specific things? You have to really be well versed. So you know how we have the Muslim Brotherhood, which Hamas descended out of, and we have ISIS, and we have Boko Haram, and organizations that their main goal is to establish Sharia worldwide. Now, these specific organizations, what they do is they go and they fight against the people who oppose them. So Hamas will fight the Jews, Hezbollah will fight the Jews, Boko Haram will fight other Muslims who don't, other Muslims or Christians who don't follow Islam to the letter. You know that all the leaders of these organizations are incredibly well versed on the Quran. They know every chapter. Some of them can understand and remember the entire Quran by heart. How do you explain the fact that these people who know the Quran in such a clear and concise manner choose to lead organizations that call for global jihad, global intifada, globalize the intifada, if they're incredibly well versed on the Quran? That is the reason why they do it, because they understand the Quran. They read the Quran. They choose to embrace Islam the way it should be embraced. Not like people in the West who only choose to... Go ahead, sorry.
It could be a different way. Maybe they are justifying this, like the Afghani, using a distorted version of Islam to pursue personal interests. Like they want to conquer land, they want to conquer power, so they try
because
to,
Islam commands them to. Islam commands them that they should conquer.
Maybe, or this, because I don't have full knowledge of Islam, so I cannot judge if what they are doing is right or wrong. But I say that maybe what you're saying is different, and what they are doing is that they are pursuing material power, because the desire of the man to own land, to own money, to own power, and to be strong and powerful and have material wealth. And they're to gather people to follow them. They give a religious explanation that I don't know if it is what Islam says, or they are modifying it and tell the people, oh, this is what Islam says, so follow me, and they manipulate them to get power. This I cannot know, and only a person with proper knowledge of Islam can judge, not me. And that's why, since you are leaving, I wanted to suggest you that since you told you that you want to educate yourself about hadith and the Quran, I think the proper way is to speak to people with knowledge, because when you ask to me, who have a very little knowledge, probably half of the question that you asked me, the question was, I don't know. The answer was, I don't know, because I have little knowledge. So I encourage you to ask the same question that you asked me to a person of knowledge who can give you a different answer, rather than I have little knowledge, so I cannot answer.
And I have another suggestion for you, just because you said a few times, I don't know. Instead of going only to your imam, try to go on the internet and research specific sources or different sources that even will contradict one another, just so you can educate yourself on the topics you don't understand a lot about. Because back in the day, people didn't have internet, so they had to rely only on their imams. Today, we have the internet to question rabbis, to question imams, to question priests, and whatever. So use the internet. Don't only go to imams. The internet is filled with sources about Islam, about Judaism, about Christianity, about Hinduism, about whatever you want. Use the internet to educate yourself, not only imams, because you'll get contradicting answers from both. And that's the way to educate. Challenging your brain and mind with different sources, and then coming up with your ideas.
I'm doing my best, bro, but to learn all of the Sharia and all of the Hadith and all of the Islam it takes so much time that I would have to quit my university and quit my daily tasks and focus like 3 years at an Islamic university only studying that. I have just very little knowledge to practice the religion, but I would have to study for a bachelor in Islamic studies for 3 years, and I don't have now the time and the money for this.
And maybe once you do it, and I'm not, I don't want to, it's just a joke, yeah, but maybe once you do it and understand Islam to the letter, maybe you will understand why Hamas tries to impose Sharia worldwide, because they are masters and scholars of Islam, the leaders. But thank you for the conversation. I think you're very nice, really.
Thank you. It was very instructive and was respectful. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to watch more of my stuff, please check out my channel down below. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you can be notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to support me and the channel financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links below. Also, we now have a Discord that you can join down in the link below. And now you can become a YouTube member and enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.